Are all doing well and you and everyone in your family is healthy and safe. And I hope you guys are excited to try this remote learning. I think it could be pretty cool, and I think some of you will have a pretty good time with it. And for those of you who struggle with it at first, we'll just set up times. I think I'm going to try on Zoom. I'll send out a link for a way where we can meet and you can ask me your questions and I can show you. And so we'll work through it, and everything's gonna work out fine. So again, if you have any reservations going in, we'll figure it out. And so if you feel stressed out about it, just let me know, and we will find a solution for it. So what we're gonna do this week is just review chapter 4, which is what we were working on before, and then I will send you a link where you can take a online quiz. So there will be no printing necessary. You won't have to get me any papers back or anything like that. You can just submit it and I'll have it. And then that should be a good way for us to dip our toes into this. And then starting on Monday, we can be off to the races with the next chapter. So the first thing we did in chapter 4 was we graphed an equation by making a table first. So the first thing is, when I look at my equation, we want it to say y equals, because then it'll be easy to input our x's and get our output, our y. So I want to say y equals, I don't want anything else on that side of the equation with the y. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract this 3x to get rid of it. And that's gone, and I'll get y equals negative 3x, and the 1's positive, so plus 1. And so the next thing I need to do is I need to pick x values that I want to plug into x to get the y values and match up with them. And the easiest one to pick is always 0, so I always start with 0. And so for y, what I'm going to get in that case is negative 3 times 0 plus 1. And 0 times anything is 0, so that's 0, plus 1, that's just 1. So I get 0 for x and 1 for y, and that's going to be a point that we will graph later, after we get a couple more. The next one that I usually do is 1. 1's also easy to multiply by, so I'll pick 1 for x, and I'll get negative 3 times 1 plus 1. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3, plus 1 is negative 2. And so I get 1 for x and negative 2 for y. And then finally, for the last one, I could pick anything that I want. I could pick 10, I could pick 1,000,000, I could pick a positive or a negative number, and so that's what I'm going to do. I'll pick negative 1. And I'll get negative 3 times negative 1 plus 1. So negative 3 times negative 1 is positive 3, plus 1 is 4. So I get negative 1 for x, 4 for y. So I have my 3 points. Now I'm going to go ahead and graph those. I'll plot those. And just remember, your y-axis is your vertical, up and down axis. Your x-axis is your horizontal, left and right axis. And so for 0, 1, I'm going nowhere on the x-axis and up 1. All right, and as we plot these, just notice that the scale is going up by 2. So just keep that in mind when we are graphing these points. So next we have 1, negative 2, so we're going 1 in the x direction, which is right here, and negative 2 in the y direction, so that's right there. So that's 1, negative 2. And finally, negative 1, 4, so I'm going left 1 and up 4, so that's negative 1, 4. And now I can connect these points, do as best I can, get my line there. All right, and so right here is a perfect time to check your work, because if you got a point over here, you know there was an issue, right? Or a point over here, you know there was an issue. Because all of the graphs that we're doing right now are linear equations. And linear means lines, so they all should line up. If you have 3 points in a line, but a fourth that's off to the side, then that should be a pretty good indication to you that maybe you had an error just with that particular point. All right, last thing before we move on. Remember that all of our x values we think of as our inputs. And all of them together, the 0, the 1, and the negative 1, we call that the domain. So all of our inputs, collectively, we think of as our domain. So if you hear that word, that's all it means. It just means our negative 1, and I can see them here, I can see my x values here, that's our domain. Our y values are our outputs. That's what we get when we plug in an x value. And collectively, my 1, my negative 2, my 4, think of all those together as my range. And again, I can see that here. I can see my range includes 4, it includes 1, and includes negative 2. All right, so we'll do one more. of this type. So what I want you to do right now is, or what you should do is you should pause it, give it a shot. Remember, solve for y, plug in x values to fill out the table, get your points, and graph them. And then after you do that, then just turn the video back on and see if you get the same thing that I do, and that'll be a perfect check for you. All right, so again, the first thing I need to do is solve for y. And you'll see there's two issues that we need to resolve here, but the first thing is the same as last time, which is I got to get this x term off of the same side as y, so I'll subtract it. So that's gone. I have 3y equals negative 2x, and I have a plus 9. But you can see now I have 3y, and I don't want that. I want just y. So I need to divide by 3. And if I divide one side by 3, I need to divide both sides by 3. So just remember, this will cancel out here, but on this side, I'm going to need to divide that term by 3 as well as that term by 3. So just keep that in mind. You're not dividing just one piece. You're dividing each term by the denominator. So I get just y equals negative 2 divided by 3. That doesn't go in evenly. I can't reduce it. So I'll just leave it. So I have negative 2 over 3 times x plus 9 divided by 3 is 3. So now, same as before, I'm going to pick x values to plug in. I'm always going to start with 0. So I start with 0. And I get negative 2 over 3 times 0 plus 3. And anything times 0 is 0, so that's 0 plus 3 is just 3. So I get x value of 0, y value of 3. So the next thing you'll notice, though, is I normally would pick 1 next, but if I do negative 2 over 3 times 1, I'm going to get negative 2 over 3. And I don't want a fraction. I don't want to work with fractions. So to get rid of the fraction, I need to multiply by something that'll get rid of the denominator. And what'll get rid of the denominator is anything that 3 will go into. So any multiple of 3. So the easiest one is just 3. And you'll see what happens. I'll pick x is 3. So I get negative 2 over 3 times 3. So notice I'm dividing by 3 and then multiplying by 3. And that's going to cancel out. So that's just gone. So I have negative 2 plus 3, and that's just 1. So I have 3 for x, 1 for y. Now let's do a third point. And remember, I can pick any multiple of x. Of 3. I could pick 3, 6, 9, negative 3, negative 6, negative 9. Anything like that will work. And I will do negative 3. But you could pick any multiple of 3. So negative 2 over 3 times negative 3 plus 3. So again, dividing by 3 and multiplying by 3 will cancel each other out. But you have to be careful here because we have a negative and we're multiplying it by another negative. So we're going to end up with positive 2. So we have 2 plus 3, and that's 5. And so my point is negative 3 for x and 5 for y. So let's go ahead now and we'll graph that. So again, y-axis is vertical, x-axis is horizontal. So 0, 3, going nowhere left or right, going up 3. So 0, 3. 3, 1, going to the right 3 and up 1. So 3, 1. Negative 3, 5, I'm going left 3, up 5. So that's negative 3, 5. So connect those with a line. And again, if you got point here or here or here, somewhere out of line with the other ones, and you have to go and recheck that. And remember, the x values are your domain, the y values are your range, and these combos that you get are all of your points, and those show up on the graph. So hopefully that you got that correct, and we'll move on to the next thing.